All right, welcome everybody. Today we are here to talk about the ultimate door opener, how to access new client networks offline without having to ask for referrals. So, I want you to pay attention because this stuff is important. If you hired us, if you hired me for private one-on-one consulting, we currently charge $8,666 a day. So, take it seriously. You will get a whole lot more out of it. Now, let's make sure you're in the right place. Let's talk about who this is for. If you own and operate a professional practice, this is for you. So you could be a financial advisor, an attorney, an accountant. You could be in healthcare. You could be an author or speaker, a high ticket coach, a high ticket consultant. And what I mean by that is if you sell $14 ebooks or cookbooks or something, and your entire business is the ebook and that's it, and there's nothing else, there's no back end, then this wouldn't be for you. If that $14 ebook or $20 book had an upsell series of upsells that took someone to being a higher ticket client, spending thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars with you, then you're in the right place. If you are an e-commerce brand, also high ticket, this will work. If you are raising capital for your company, raising a second round, as in you already have money and you're now raising like a series A, you're in the right place. So what that means is this is not for you if you own a restaurant, if you own a retail store, if you are purely a property and casualty insurance agent, if you sell low ticket digital products, if you are a divorce attorney, if you are a low ticket chiropractor. So I have two different chiropractors I go to. One of them takes insurance and charges me, I pay a $35 copay, I get adjusted, and that's it. Another one has a care plan that they do not take insurance, and you pay 5 grand to 7,500 for their care plan. The high ticket chiropractor in this case would work. Now, what am I going to give you to state to the? There's nothing for sale today, by the way, just so you know. It's purely educational. You can't buy anything. But I will give you a bribe to stay till the end, which is we have a directory, a national directory of associations that we built that you can literally search your state. You can search a type of associations, how many members they have. I'm going to show you why that's important in just a little bit, but we'll give you access to it for free just for sticking around and hearing the whole thing, even though there's no sales pitch today. Right. That was just a comment by a note chat. Okay, so a little bit about me in case you don't, in case this is your first training with me and you don't know who I am. Hi, I'm Seth Green. I've been in the business for 27 years. I started out as a financial advisor and still own and practice in that business today. I'm an accredited asset management specialist. I own howtofindmoneyforcollege.com, the original core business where we cut the cost of college tuition $37,070 per year per kid. My marketing company that you're going to learn from today, Market Domination, was on the Inc. 5000 fastest growing privately held companies in America list in 2023. And I've written now 10 best-selling Amazon books about direct response marketing. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. And I'm going to let Paul show you what's possible. And then we're going to keep going.
In terms of return on investment, we'll already have fees in excess of anything we paid, certainly to Seth and his team. We're way ahead of the game. We feel like we're only in the second or third inning, and so by the time we get to inning number 9, it's going to be even better. But it's off to a great start, and we couldn't be happier.
All right. So what's the big idea that you're here to learn today? Stop asking for referrals and start having doors opened for you. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in just a minute. I believe, and my goal is to get you to believe, that the best way to grow your business, which I have done for the last 27 years, is to get doors opened for you. My payroll, this is actual numbers, 100% transparency. My payroll last month was $53,462.54 for my team. So over the last decades, I've invested $12.1 million to learn what I am about to share with you, the exact process that we do. In a little bit, I'll ask you to invest 1 month of my payroll, $53,462.54, but not today. So let's ask you the question. If every CPA, if every attorney, if every center of influence you ever met actually promoted your business to their clients, what would that be worth to you? And if I can convince you that having doors open for you is the key to growing your business to the next level, I want you to agree to go all in with me. So are you all in? Give me an all in the chat box. Charles, give me an all in. Ed, give me an all in. Hey, Eric. Hey, Matthew. I see some familiar faces. Give me an all in. Give me some all ins. Awesome. There we go. All right. So act like you invested $53,000 to be here, and you will get a whole lot more out of it. Stop multitasking, close your other browsers, get out of your email, turn your phone off, well, mute it, and pay attention. So none of you have been in business for one day, right? You've all been in business a significant period of time. So why hasn't you've already tried what you've already tried worked? It's not your fault. I'm going to show you all in, all in, all in. Awesome. I'm going to show you. Let me share with you the difference from Charles, and we'll go and we'll keep going.
Um, it actually was on Monday. It was a CPA, came through LinkedIn, one of those connections. And I will say this to everyone. Look, I've been doing this since like 2019, connecting with CPAs on LinkedIn. But uh, after joining here, basically said, let's change the text tonality, basically. And what's amazing is I have two people that I interviewed that I spoke to 3 years ago and never, there were crickets for 3 years. Crickets. And then all of a sudden, one owns a bookkeeping service, Candy. We interview her. Before I interview her, and I didn't tell you this one, Seth, she said, I have a couple selling a business in California. I already gave them your name and everything. The more you get into it, the more I'm loving this.
All right. So don't be a door knocker, right? Don't go knock on doors or businesses you don't know trying to get business or referrals. Don't go cold call. Don't be a door knocker. Get the door open for you, which is what we're here to dive into right now. So, can I show you the system that we figured out that works? Give me a yes in the chat box. Let's make this as interactive as possible. Robert, Tom, Matthew, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not going to call on everybody because we'll be here all day. All right, so here's how I want you to judge me today. I want you to give me a grade at the end of it. I want you to let me know if we talked about number one, how to turn the toughest gatekeeper into your best advocate without asking for referrals, how to leverage social media to access your center of influence's client base and unlock a stream of high quality leads, and the simple monthly system that will keep centers of influences dating you without any hard sell so you become their go-to advisor. That's what you're going to grade me on at the end. So, as a business owner, as a professional practice owner, you have one fundamental, it all boils down to this, you have one fundamental marketing problem. You need a regular flow of qualified, interested, ideal client leads in the door. I went to Syracuse University several decades ago, and I picked Syracuse. One of the reasons was it had one of the top three musical theater programs in the country. And at the age of 18, my life goal was to be a Broadway star. Well, you see, my stage has changed just a little bit. I can literally remember it like it was yesterday. It was the day before Thanksgiving, my freshman year. I'd been there a couple months. I was going home for the first time for Thanksgiving break. I'm packing my duffel bag. My brother's about to come pick me up and bring me home. Phone rings. It's my dad. He said, "You can't stay there." I said, "I know. I'll be home in a couple hours. Josh is coming to pick me up on his way home from SUNY Binghamton." And he said, "No, no, no, you don't understand. You can't stay at Syracuse. You have to move home. You have to live at home. You have to switch to SUNY Buffalo. You have to get a part-time job and work and help us. You have to do chores for your mother around the house. There's no loud music after 9 p.m. and there's no girls over when we're not home. See you for Thanksgiving." Click. He literally hung up on me. I called my mother in tears, going, "Mom, I just got here a couple of months ago. You guys were just here for Parents Weekend. I love it. Like, what's going on?" And she said, "Your father got the tuition bill and he's freaking out." And every single semester, my dad did the same thing. So, in addition to completing my theatrical studies at Syracuse, I also created a degree program that didn't exist back then, back in the 90s, in college financial aid negotiation. And I started howtofindmoneyforcollege.com to help other parents deal with the high cost of college so that their kids didn't have to deal with the stress that my dad put me through. But I didn't instantly hang up a shingle, open a door, and instantly get business, right? I worked for a Fortune 500 company, AG Edwards back then, and they gave me, my branch manager literally handed me the yellow pages and said, "They're all in," because there was no internet. He said, "They're all in there, Tiger, go get them." And I made 300 cold calls a day, interrupting strangers, asking for money, and I hated it. If you've ever cold called for business, give me a "I feel your pain" in the chat box. Give me an "I feel your pain." Come on, I know some of you have done it. There we go. Feel the pain, feel the pain, feel the pain, feel your pain. Awesome. So we got great results. I got great results for clients. This was Caroline just 2 years ago that we got her $47,750 a year in free money for college. So you would think with results like that, they'd be singing our praises from the rooftops. But I was hearing, just like Chick, and maybe just like you, I was hearing crickets. I was hearing crickets. I was really frustrated. When I did get referrals, I would get one referral or two at a most. I needed some leverage. And so out of that frustration, I finally cracked the code, which is what we're going to share with you today. I interviewed an accountant on my podcast 5 years ago. He sent me 10 clients alone in the last month alone. 10 referrals, 10 meetings, 100% success rate. And he's been sending me business for 5 years in a row. So, do you have the same problem I did before? What's your referral rate? Let's kind of figure it out. Let's do some really quick math. This is a safe space. Type in the chat box, how many clients or households are you currently serving right now? Give me a number. Is it 10? Is it 50? Is it 100? Is it 1,000? There's no wrong answer. I can handle the truth. Just put in the chat box how many clients you are serving right now. Charles is serving 12. Robert is thousands. Edward is 100. Tom is 8. And 875. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you for playing. Next math exercise. How many referrals did you get in March? March just ended. How many referrals did you get last month? Give me that number in the chat box. All right, Nate, awesome. 1. And it's okay if the number's 0 because we're going to change that. That's why you're here. So let's look at it. Now we're going to do some quick, easy math. We are going to do some quick, easy math. You are going to divide the number of referrals you got by the number of clients you have and put that percentage in the chat box. So, Nate, I'm going to cheat and do the math for you. One client divided by 75, one referral divided by 75 clients means you got a 1.3% referral rate. So put that number in the chat box. Most professional practices, most financial advisors, when I speak at a conference on a monthly basis, and everybody says, oh, I run a referral-based practice. I'm like, great, let's do the exercise. And then they go, holy crap. Right? Nate says 1.3%. I'm killing it. Well, here's the thing. Reverse the number. Charles is 0.08. 100 minus your referral rate. So 100 minus 1.3% means, Nate, 98.7% of your clients didn't refer last month. Charles, 99.2%, 0.02, didn't refer last month. Tom, 50%. Well, you also have, hang on, how many clients does Tom Baker have? Now I got to go look. Tom has 8. Okay. Well, it's a whole lot easier to get 4 referrals out of 8 than it is for, say, Robert to get 100 referrals out of 1,000 people. All right. So it's kind of scary, right? When you think about that number, right? You don't run a real referral-based practice. So see if you have gone through things like I did. Before I figured this process out that I'm going to share with you in just a second, here's what I tried, and let me know if any of this resonates with you. My branch manager at AG Edwards would come over and give me a stack of what he called orphan leads. Y'all know what orphan leads are? Yes, 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 no. Orphan leads are their advisor left the company, but they didn't go with for some reason. So they didn't have an advisor. They got assigned to an 800 number, right? Merrill Lynch cut everybody off who didn't have a portfolio of a certain amount of value, and now you go into an 800 number, right? So he would hand these stack of orphan leads to me, and he'd say, call them up, introduce them yourself as your new advisor, go see if there's any new business there, and ask for an introduction to their CPA and attorney. And then call that CPA or attorney, tell them you got a client in common, you want to take them out to lunch and get to know them. I said, I could do that. I called all the orphan leads. I got introductions to all their accountants and attorneys. I called them all up. I offered to take them all out to lunch. Every single one of them said yes. Every single one accepted my lunch offer. I was going to be rich from all these referrals that I was getting. I was so excited. But what did those CPAs say to me? Take a guess in the chat. When I asked for referrals and I was 22 years old, what did those CPAs say to me in the chat? What did they say? Guess in the chat. Give me an excuse the CPA has given to you. It's probably what I heard. But me letting you participate, having you participate, also let me take a sip of water. Robert says steak, please. That's funny. That is not what they said. That's a good one, though. They said, not so much. And I'll tell you the exact thing they said in just a minute. But you might have tried asking a client-centered influence like I did for referrals. You might have tried joining BNI. I was in BNI for 10 years. Edward says, not sure my clients are a match for you. That's not what they said, but I understand why you've heard that. I tried joining a tip club. I tried joining the Chamber of Commerce. I tried joining networking groups. I tried sponsoring associations. None of that worked for me until I created the Ultimate Door Opener process that I'm teaching you right now. So let me ask you one more quick question. What is one client worth to you? I know it's going to vary all over the map. I know it depends on the products, the services, the mix of whatever you sell, insurance, annuities, AUM, or whatever product or service you sell if you're not a financial advisor. But give me an example. What's one client worth to you the first year, right? If you're an AUM guy and they have $1 million and they pay you 1%, are they worth 10 grand? Type in average first year revenue. Robert, $300,000. You have thousands of clients and they pay you 300 grand. We got to talk. Eric Smith, 20 grand a year. Ed, 6 to 10K. Awesome. You guys are all in the right place. And Eric, we definitely got to talk. Okay, again. So if we just doubled your referral rate, how much more would that be worth to you every single month? Now, some of you, your referral rate was like 1%. So doubling that while good, is not like, oh my God, it just moved the needle and made me financially free. We need to put like a zero on the end of your referral rate. So here's how I learned this. I had the good fortune to find legendary marketing guru Dan Kennedy. And I met Dan at an event and I did a consultation with Dan. And at the end of it, he said, basically, you're doing everything your industry taught you, which is wrong. You should not be cold calling. You shouldn't. I own an M&A firm. We purchase companies. Actually, yes, I do, Robert. Let's talk. We just did something like this for what you're about to learn for an M&A company. And we've worked with mid-market M&A before. So let's have a conversation. So Robert, anyway, met Dan Kennedy, told him what I was doing. He said, doing everything else you taught you, it's completely wrong. You shouldn't be cold calling. You shouldn't be interrupting strangers. They should be chasing you. They should know who you are, what you do, who you do it for, why you do it, how much you charge, why you're different, why you're better. And they should be coming to you pre-interested, pre-qualified, and predisposed to doing business with you. You should have like almost no rejection. You should be rejecting them. And I said, oh my God, sign me up for that. How do I get that? And he said, write me. It was a much better pitch, but basically, write me a really big check. I'll change your life. And I did not have, this was more than my wife and I, our new mortgage. I did not have the money. So I had to, you know, how you have a new idea, right? And someone like me gets you all excited about it. And then now you're all excited. And then you got to go home and you got to resell it to your spouse and get them to say yes. Was always a fan of Dan, super direct guy, my type. Awesome. So I went home to my wife. And in 1 year, 12 months, we got married, got pregnant, had our first baby, bought our first house, and she quit her job to be a stay-at-home mom while I was still making cold calls. This was a very stressful year. Happy stress, but very stressful. So there's Max, who's now 19 and a freshman, finishing up his freshman year at Cornell. And I went home and I told my wife, and I'm like, I got to do this thing with this guy, Dan. I got to go buy more than this house that we just bought to go learn from Dan. And she came up with something absolutely brilliant, which changed our lives. She said, you don't have to pay off that six-figure debt on day one. All you've got to do is make enough to make the first monthly payment. And then you bought yourself another 30 days on that loan. She's like, so can you make enough extra cold calls, do enough extra meetings? If what you learn, if it takes you more than 30 days to learn from Dan to start working, can you just work more to make the first loan payment? I was like, holy crap, honey, I actually can. I'm going to go do this. And she did say, you better pray this shit works. But that's how the ultimate smart wife, you're lucky. Very. That's how the ultimate door opener was born. So let's get into the ultimate door opener system now that we've got the intro out of the way. So again, first three things we're going to talk about: how to turn the toughest gatekeeper into your best advocate, how to leverage social media to access your COIs client base, and the simple monthly system to keep COIs dating you. So let's start with step one, which is going to happen in the first 3 months of your doing this. So I thought one of the things Dan taught me was to think vertically. He said, don't think one client at a time, think leverage. Who else serves your ideal client? And I said, as a college financial aid advisor, accountants serve them, lawyers serve those parents, high school guidance counselors serve my ideal clients. So then he said, don't ask for referrals. So here's the concept I really need you to get. There are closed groups of ideal clients you cannot get to on your own. So it could be an association, like this is the Bar Association of Erie County, which when my target market was estate planning attorneys who were partners in their law firms, I owned that subcommittee. Every single person knew who I was. And I'll tell you how I did it in just a second. So there's associations by profession. This is the Bar Association of Erie County. This is the Arkansas HVAC Association. If I wanted HVAC company owners in Arkansas, there's the association. There's the American Advertising Federation. This is the SU New York City Alumni Club. Again, we've got a directory of all of them. We'll share with you at the end. There are also groups and associations by people's hobbies, right? There are classic car collector groups. There are membership groups for Ferraris. There are membership groups for Mustangs. There are membership groups for Corvettes. There are groups. There's a boat show, right? Even in Buffalo, where it snows half the year, there is a boat club, a yacht club, and they have a boat show and they have meetings. And of course, in every city, probably in America, there is a country club based around people's playing golf, tennis, or now pickleball or socialization. So I tried to get into these groups. The first thing I did was I joined as a member, and I hoped that business was going to fall from the sky. That is called networking, and it is not working. Don't network for referrals. There's a much better way. What I also tried that does not work is spending a lot of money as a corporate sponsor. So I am a member for the last couple of years in EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, which is a peer-to-peer networking and support group for entrepreneurs who own companies doing at least $1 million. You have to do $1 million to get in the door. I joined as a sponsor, a strategic alliance partner. It cost me $25,000 per year to be a strategic alliance partner. Well, I did it for 2 years and I got nothing. Then I used this process And lo and behold, there is me presenting at a college financial aid training for seven-figure business owners. The entire room was filled with business owners from EO, seven-figure plus, all there to hear me speak on college financial aid. So that cost me nothing to do. It works. So you got to enter the group in a completely different way. We've got a unique process to access these groups through trust. So how does it work? Where the first, how many of you have read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins? Put I've read it in the chat box. You mean I've read it? Robert's read it. Charles has read it. Eric's read it. There we go. Awesome. Now, here's pop quiz. There was a sequel to Good to Great that is not built to last or too big to fail. It's called Turning the Flywheel, a monograph to accompany Good to Great. If you've read that, put flywheel in the chat. Ooh, I don't think anybody's read that one. Didn't read it. It's really good. It's honestly better than Good to Great. And it's shorter. It's like 50 pages. Transformational. I would highly suggest you go get it yesterday. Now, in the book, the concept is this is a flywheel. It's an engineering manufacturing thing that it takes an enormous amount of energy to get it turning. But then once it's turning and it starts producing kinetic energy, like my 13-year-old could push it with her finger and it would keep going. It's just all the efforts on the front end, and then it spins forever. That's the goal. So what's our flywheel here at Market Domination is people like you hire us because we're sold out right now, so you can't, but we'll talk about that. But they hire us to get the results that they want. They stay longer because of the experience we deliver. That generates referrals, which turn into leads, which turn into enrollment opportunities that people want to hire us to get the results. And as long as we deliver the results, and the flywheel just keeps on spinning. It's self-perpetuating. So let's talk about the referral, the ultimate door opener flywheel. So again, I tried those orphan clients. I tried meeting with those CPAs. And here were the excuses that I got. I know a number of advisors. I can't refer to one. I can't play favorites. And I said, that doesn't make any sense to me. I said, if I'm Seth the advisor and Matthew Buckery is the accountant and Nate is the accountant's client, if Matthew refers Nate to me, but Rex is Nate's advisor, is another advisor that Matthew the accountant knows, but Nate's not Rex's client. How would Rex, the other advisor that this accountant knows, ever find out that the accountant referred someone to me and not him? Unless it was his client and I took him away, it's physically impossible. And I argued with every CPA who said that. And said, well, I'm just not comfortable. I'm just not going to do it. I'm like, yeah, that's the real reason you don't really trust me and you don't see what's in it for you. So how do we turn it? There are two types of gatekeepers. There's the normal type of gatekeeper that we all think of, the secretary, the office admin, the receptionist to the business owner or the client or the doctor, whomever we want to get in front of. I'm going to ask you to think about gatekeeper in a different way. I'm going to ask you to think gatekeeper is in center of influence, who has the clients that you would love to serve if you could only get them to put you in front of their clients. So in that case, that might be a CPA, that might be an attorney, that might be a payroll company, that might be an EO chair or a Vistage chair, something like that. So first book Dan Kennedy gave me to read was Think and Grow Rich. And that started the ultimate door opener flywheel, because Napoleon Hill, if you know the story, was a young broke reporter that Andrew Carnegie tasked, gave him the opportunity to go interview 500 of the most successful people of his time and write a book about it. It is the #1 success in personal development book by a factor of 10, sold 150 million copies. But when Napoleon Hill was given the task by Andrew Carnegie, he didn't know anything. He was brand new. So he interviewed a bunch of people and wrote about it. And I said, wait a second, I can interview people. But now it's the 21st century. So the first step, grab your piece of paper and a pen, because you're going to start taking notes if you haven't already. The first thing you're going to do is that center of influence. You're going to interview them on a podcast. So congratulations, you are all now podcasters. If you don't know, a podcast is just basically a radio show, a talk radio show on your phone. You're going to interview that center of influence on your podcast. Now, 19 years ago when I started this, it didn't start out as a podcast. It started out because podcasts didn't exist. So I started with this Olympus voice recorder I'm holding up. It still works. I just need a special adapter because the port no longer goes to the ports on a computer. But I would literally go physically in person and interview people and record it on this. And I used those to write my first book, How to Feel Like You Were Born with a Silver Spoon in Your Mouth. It's not a marketing book, it's a financial book. Now, I was nervous at first because I had never done an interview before. So I interviewed clients before I went after COIs, just in case I mess it up. I figured they'd be more forgiving. Then I added social media as the years went by. So now if I supply, if Robert is the person I'm trying to interview, and I give Robert a LinkedIn post, LinkedIn video, and a LinkedIn post, and a Facebook post, and a Twitter tweet, an X tweet, Robert goes and posts because he's bragging about himself that he was on my podcast. And that creates my first wave of activity because when Robert posts about it, Matthew, his friend or colleague, sees it and comments and says, "Way to go, Robert. Cool podcast. I'll go check it out." I go then friend Rob, I go then friend Matthew, and I say, "Nice to meet you. How do you know Robert?" And he says, "Oh, Robert helped me sell my company." And I say, "Awesome." And we start a conversation. That's my first wave of activity. It's not a direct referral. It's a soft introduction because we've got something in common now, thanks to the person I interviewed on the show. We're going to do that in our first 90 days. Does that make sense? Are you with me so far? Give me I'm with you in the chat. Give me an I'm with you in the chat. Thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you for playing. Okay. When I did that, it worked. This is Mike. He is a college financial planning client, college financial aid negotiation. These are text messages of all his introductions of people. So no longer one intro at a time from a client. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8. Sorry, 8. I overcounted. That was 8 referrals in 12 months from one client. Isn't that exciting? Who wants 8 referrals from one client? Put I do in the chat. Give me an I do in the chat. Don't worry, we're not getting married. Give me an I do in the chat. There we go. I do, I do, I do. Thank you, Matthew. Good to see you here. All right. So once that worked, then I went back to those CPAs, attorneys, and other center of influences. This is Harsh Arora. He is a business lawyer who serves business owner clients that I want at Kelly Cronenberg Law Firm. That's the podcast. He liked it so much, and I'll show you the follow-up process that converted him in just a second, that he had me do a webinar for all of his clients. That's the webinar when I was educating them on the new Supreme Court 401k liability that came out a year ago. Who else wants to be in front of all of an attorney's clients in one shot? Give me another I do. Give me another I do. Give me an I do too. Me. Awesome. That works. Thank you, Eric. All right. I interviewed CPA Gary Helt 5 years ago. He sent me 10 clients in December. I've gotten more. He sends me clients every single month for college financial aid negotiation. 10 referrals, 10 meetings, 100% success rate. How would a CPA sending you 10 referrals who all booked appointments affect your business? Give me an answer in the chat. How would that affect you? Take a guess. I promise you'll be right. CPA sends you 10 referrals. They all book appointments with life-changing, says Matthew. Amen. Tremendously, says Tom. Life-changing. He's sending you business because he was on your podcast 5 years ago. Yes, Robert, that's exactly right. I'll show you this dating process. So he gets nurtured every single month and he sends me more business every single month. That's the whole point. I'll show you the dating system in just a minute. That process alone, that first part, got me nominated by Dan Kennedy for Marketer of the Year in 2013. Let me share with you this example and then we'll keep going.
What happens if they ask you right up front? So what do you do? What's in it for you?
All right, awesome. So Chick, the accountant, asks me, Bob, the advisor, all right, says, that would be at the end of the podcast. Thanks so much. Why are you doing this?
He did it in the front on Monday.
At the beginning. Okay. So
At the
hi,
beginning,
nice to meet
so
you.
I walked him through my proactive tax reduction thing. He loved it. Told me he had some clients already. And then we went into the interview.
All right. So, damn. Chick's stealing all my thunder here. I love it. So,
Sorry.
no, you're good. So, I would normally tell you not to do that.
I was biting my lip not to do it, but he was pretty adamant
He
before
made
we
you
started.
sell to him. Okay.
What?
He made you sell him. I love it. So again, I normally wouldn't answer the question. I would try not to. I would try and let the magic work first. But in this case, it worked really freaking well for Chick. So awesome. We're going to have Chick tell us what he said in just a minute because he closed before the interview even happened, which is freaking awesome, right? It works better than expected. Okay, so ready to see how? Put I'm ready in the chat. You mean I'm ready? I mean I'm ready. I'm ready. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So again, don't be a door knocker. Get doors open for you. So step two, we're going to leverage their social media to access their client base and unlock a stream of high quality leads in months 3 to 4. So after I read Think and Grow Rich, Dan gave me another book to read, and it's called The Ultimate Sales Machine by Chet Holmes. How many of you have read it? I read it in the chat box. Brad, have you read it? Charles, have you read it? Eric, have you read it? Have you read The Ultimate Sales Machine? I'm giving you, those are the 3 books. Read it, read it, read it. Brad says no. I know both Chet and his daughter. Yes, I got to do business with Chet before he passed away. And I've done business with Amanda. We're actually in a conversation with them about their company right now. Okay. So in The Ultimate Sales Machine, it's really, really a good book. There is one chapter that stands out all the rest that informed my process. So remember, we're starting out by interviewing them on a podcast. We're creating social media content so they can brag about themselves and take you along for the ride. We're connecting with every single person who interacts with their podcast post and starting conversations for a soft referral. Then we are going to send what we call our magic tumbler. So here's what happens. A week after the podcast airs, a big brown, so Matthew is my guest, right? Matthew, I just interviewed you. I gave you the social media post. You posted to brag about the fact that you were on my show. A week after the interview airs, a big brown box shows up in Matthew's mailbox. And he looks at it and says, I didn't order anything from Amazon yesterday. What is this? He opens it up and out comes our magic tumbler. It looks like a Yeti, but it's magic because the art that's on it. So in this case, that's my picture and that's my podcast guest. So in this case, that would be me. This would be Matthew. Matthew, this would be you. This would be your client. This would be the center of influence. And then it's got the smartest thing he said on the show that will make him feel good about himself. So now he goes crazy. He goes, oh my God, Seth, I can't believe you sent me this. This is so cool. Here's the best part. He will keep it. It's got his picture on it. It will sit on top of his desk. He will drink his coffee, or she will drink his coffee or tea out of it all day long and stare at your face. Anytime someone comes into the office and sees it, they ask, what's that? He tells them. He's on Zoom. He holds it up. What's that? He tells them. We have gone beyond top of mind awareness to now own top of desk awareness. That makes sense. How someone would go, man, that's cool. Give me type top of desk into the chat. Give me a top of desk in the chat. Rex, hey Rex, give me a top of desk. Charles, give me a top of desk. Awesome. Now, after they get the magic tumbler, but wait, there's more. We nurture them. So we are going to, in step 3, show you how we stay in front of them. They will keep this forever. I have had people I met them in person years later, and they're like, I still have your tumbler. I'd still use it, right? I'm going to show you how we're going to keep them dating you so you stay in front of them forever and keep getting referrals forever. But that's our first 120 days. Let me share with you some feedback we get on the tumbler.
Had a success story.
Yeah, please.
I just did a podcast this morning with a CPA. He helps business owners with everything, but he's very interested and very excited about getting back with me, or us getting back together, so we can work together, because he wants to add our family office to his offerings.
Awesome.
I get rave reviews on that Tumblr, and because it's the first time they've ever had their mug on a mug.
Yep.
Oh, there's a pun. I like that. They don't have their mug on a mug. I'm going to use that. So we're going to give them their mug on a mug. We can even pick, design, print, pack, and ship them for you. So yes, it's center of influence marketing, but with a twist. Here's how it works. You're going to take a baby step. You're going to do 1 season, 10 episodes, and you're going to pick one niche to go after. So for example, some of you here are already clients or members of some of our coaching programs. So I'm going to pick on one of you for a minute. So I'm going to pick on Ed, who I've known for a little while. And Ed originally started out going after, and I'm not saying he should still, but he should do this, but he wanted to go after healthcare professionals, right? He's got a passion for helping nurses who are overworked, underpaid, and don't take care of themselves because they're too busy taking care of everybody else. If he wanted to do this, he could go after 10 micro influencers who all have lists of nurses, like the nursing association where he lives, and use this to get in front of a ton of nurses at once. So one season, one niche, 10 episodes a season. If you don't have a niche, that's okay. We will help you pick one. Now, when you get invited into the group, so if Ed wanted to get into and own the Nurses Association, he doesn't start by interviewing 10 nurses. He goes after the president of the Nurses Association, the vice president, the communications director, the secretary. You go after the group leadership, right? And by being invited into that group through your guest relationship, you earn a trusted endorsement from the leadership. I didn't get into EO to actually get to present by going and bragging about myself. I interviewed the current leadership team, put them through this nurture process, the board. They said, tell us more about what you do. I'll show you how that happens in just a second. It worked. I told them, and they were like, you should come present to our group. And I said, awesome. I was a sponsor for 2 years. You never, and I asked to speak and you said no. Now you're asking me. So you start off by interviewing them as a podcast guest where they get to show off. The interview is about them. You could be the most introverted person in the world and a podcast will work for you because it's not about you. You don't have to talk about yourself. The whole goal is to ask the guest questions and we've got a strategic, psychologically scripted interview process to follow. The whole point is to let them talk for 20 to 30 minutes so they feel all warm and fuzzy towards you. You're starting with a podcast because it makes them feel good about themselves and it gives them something to share. They'll share it to brag about themselves. These are examples of social media posts that our guests have created promoting the fact that they were on one of our client shows. And then we keep nurturing them. I'm going to tell you the dating process in just a minute until you reap all of the rewards. So it is win, win, win. You win, they win, their clients win, everybody wins. This is another example. This just spoke with John M. Schmiller, enrolled agent. He said knows he has a lot of clients who could benefit from working with me. He only has 3,000 clients who are dentists around the Midwest. He was appreciative of the Tumblr as everyone asked him about it. And he has had a great response to the podcast. That part of the process got me nominated for Market of the Year again in 2014, 2 years in a row. So don't be a door knocker. Get the doors open for you. Now let's get into step 3, the simple monthly system to keep COIs dating you without any selling so you become their go-to advisor. And this generally happens in months 4 to 6. So how I learned this, we would do the podcast. We'd give them the social media post. We'd send them the magic Tumblr. And then when I first did it, I fell off the planet. They got the Tumblr and they didn't do anything after that. And I would get an initial wave of referrals just from the Tumblr alone. But T.N. Kennedy smacked me upside the head, metaphorically, and said, why are you leaving money on the table? Why are you sending them one thing and then dropping off and just hoping that that's going to last forever? Yes, they'll keep it, but still. And I said, well, what do I do? And he said, you nurture them. You send them something else, not another Tumblr, obviously. You send them something else in the mail every single month. I said, okay. So the very first thing we started with, how many of you have ever read the book Giftology by the late, great Jonathan Rulin? I've read it in the chat box, if you've read it. Haven't. Okay. So I'm going to save you the trouble. It's a good book. And Jonathan was was on my podcast. We got to be friendly. We actually did some work with his company. But the giftology process, the whole premise, and Jonathan became the #1 salesperson of Cutco knives in the entire world because of this process. So the premise was you're going to send someone, in his case, engraved Cutco knives, really nice engraved knives. And it's going to blow them away and blah, 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 blah. I tried that. It backfired. Everyone who got one got mad at me. I was like, why are you mad? I sent you a beautifully engraved $300 knife set, knives. And they'd be like, I feel like it's too much. I feel like you must want something. I can't return it because it's got my name on it. Now I feel obligated to you. And I was like, damn, I'm so sorry. This totally backfired. That is not what I should be doing. So I'm like, Jonathan, I'm so sorry. I tried your process, which I know works for lots of people, but it did not work for me. So we pivoted, and I said, I'm going to send something every single month that is small, that is inexpensive, but thoughtful and keeps me in front of them. So what are some examples of that? We have sent books. We have sent journals. We have sent boxes of gourmet chocolates. We have sent bags of gourmet popcorn. We have sent fruit treats. We have sent all kinds of different inexpensive, thoughtful, warm and fuzzy gifts. Think like 20, 30 bucks, 50 at the absolute most. If you're a financial advisor and you got to get around the FINRA $100 rule, we've got another series of gifts where we do it less often and it costs less money. So we're sent a small, inexpensive, thoughtful gift and greeting card every single month. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a lot of time and effort. And you are absolutely right. So let me show you how it works. Again, we start with the podcast. We give them social media content to brag about it. We get our first wave of soft referral activity. They get the magic tumbler a week later. They get blown away and go, oh my God, this is awesome. They get nurtured. They get dripped on snail mail, not email, physical snail mail every single month. And then what's going to happen, and we have done this 7,139 times as of last week, you are going to get one of two emails by the time we get to step 3. Email number 1, you're going to get email number 1, either 1 or 2. So Eric is going to get an email from his guest, his center of influence, who says, Eric, oh my God, I love all the cool stuff you send me. It's like you're my new best friend. I feel bad. This is all of your guests. They're COIs. They're saying, I feel bad. On the podcast, all I did was talk about myself. That's what we wanted them to do. I want to learn about you, Eric. Can we set up another call? Can you please tell me about your company? Matthew, can you please tell me how you're going to save my taxes? Right, Robert, can you tell me how you can sell my business? Boom, warmest sales call you'll ever have. That is an open door. Or you get email 2, which is, Nada, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Thank you for all the cool stuff you keep sending me. It's like you're my new best friend. What can I do for you? And then we just happen to have an answer to that, which segues into another Zoom phone call conversation. And if you follow our script for that process, you will convert that person into an evangelist, center of influence, referral partner for your brand who actively promotes your brand to their business like every single week. I did say every single week. They will literally be promoting your business every week to their client base. That's 150 to 180 days. That's how long it takes for the flywheel. We're going to start spinning that flywheel. It takes an enormous amount of energy the first 3 months to get it up and running. Once it starts spinning, it spins every single week. How does that work? I'm going to have Lauren tell you.
But I do have a success story.
Yay, tell us.
Okay. So last night I had done a podcast with a lady named Carlotta Thompson. She has Tax Strategists of America, and she was actually the first person I did a podcast with. Last night, before this is actually even aired, simply on the basis of the interview, the podcast, first one that I did with her, I got this email from Carlotta, and it says, please meet Chelsea, Kim, and Laura. Kim is our tax treasurer coordinator. Chelsea is our operations manager. Laura is our partnership coordinator and CEO. Lauren offers retirement options as well as investments, and I'd like to get her set up and send eligible clients over to her team. And then before I even had a chance to respond, I got, hi Lauren, great to meet you. I look forward to connecting regarding retirement options and investments for our eligible clients. Can we schedule a meeting next week at a time convenient for you? Thank you. Kimberly Johnson, Treasurer Hunts Department, Tax Strategist of America. We could definitely have some synergies between our two firms. And she initiated that before the podcast has even run. So I was pretty jacked. I just wanted to share that with all of you because obviously Seth has come up with something that's brilliant and it's working really well. And I was only my first person, my first tax professional.
Well, congratulations. That is awesome. That is a great success story. I can't wait for the next one. All right. That got me nominated for Market of the Year a third time in 2015. So I'm the only person in history to ever get nominated 3 years in a row. And in 2016, they stopped having the contest. I don't know if I broke it. Dan and Russell will not confirm or deny whether they stopped having it for a while because of me, but that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So don't be a door knocker. Get doors open for you. Now, I did tell you I wanted you to judge me and give me a grade. So give me a grade, 0 to 100. 100% means crushed it. Did we talk about how to turn the gatekeeper into your best advocate by interviewing them on a podcast and dripping on them? Did we talk about how to leverage social media, that wave of activity from their people? And did we talk about how we stay in front of them every single month to turn them into referral sources? Give me a grade in the chat box. Let me know how I did. Oh, Eric, you're so nice. You gave me 100. Thank you. Appreciate that. My check hasn't even cleared yet. Love it. All right. So let me ask you a question. Are you excited about what we're talking about? Give me, I'm excited in the chat box. You're missing the scalability. Oh, okay, Robert, we're going to get into that. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so Robert, stay at 95. I'll take it, Nate. Thanks. As a principle, we know, but the system itself we need. Yes. Okay, you're excited. Awesome. Okay, Robert, keep the scalability question. We're going to get to Q&A, and I want you to ask me that because I want to talk about it. That's a great question. Okay, so you might feel a little bit like this, right? Drinking from a fire hose, ton of information in a short period of time, but hopefully there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So is it okay if I share with you the actual system that Robert just asked about that literally is the step-by-step part of the process? Give me a yes in the chat box. Yes, awesome. Okay, here we go. So let's talk about the ultimate door opener. So what you're going to get, again, you cannot buy today. We are sold out at the moment, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. What the Ultimate Door System includes. You need a title for your podcast, which costs about $590 to get it right. You can't use GPT for this. You're going to get podcast graphic design. You need art. You need intro. You need the intro. You need the outro. You need the podcast one sheet for the guests. You need the podcast one sheet for yourself. You need an interview coaching session. We've got a 2-time Emmy award-winning production team that will coach you on our strategic, psychologically proven process over 7,139 interviews on how to do an interview the right way, because this is specifically designed to get them to turn into an evangelist, an affiliate partner for you. We'll even do a practice interview with you should you need one. You're going to get 10 episodes, 10 relationships. So that's 10 sets of interview questions, 10 produced audio episodes, 10 produced video episodes, 10 social media posts, 10 video clips to market on social media. You're going to need 10 promotional packages, one for each guest. You're going to need 10 swipe files. We'll talk about what that is, one for each guest. You're going to need 10 magic tumblers, each one designed for each person. You're going to need 10 sets of gifts to go out to them every single month, because you're going to keep nurturing them. You're going to need those 10 episodes syndicated on iTunes, Apple Play, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Audible, and Pandora, and YouTube, all to get 10 profitable relationships. And if you add that up, that is, and if you go on our website, you can see it, that we charge $55,356 for that process. So you're probably thinking, can I just do this myself? And the answer is yes, you actually can. Now, there's some people you're going to need to do that. You are going to need a copywriter, and these are the payroll. This is what we pay. We pay our copywriter $134,400 a year. You need a graphic designer. You need an audio editor. You need a video editor. You need an interview coach. You need a social media marketer to create all the social media assets. You need a producer for the show. You need the direct mail monthly people to do graphic design, pick, print, pack, and ship. You need an account manager. Then, of course, you need a chief operations manager to run the team. And then you need me, and I'll just say that I'm priceless. That's our payroll of $553,560. And then, of course, you got to figure out how to do this and train them how to do it. We've been doing it for 19 years, 7,139 relationships built, 7,139 lessons learned. 19 years times $500,000, 10.5 million is what we've invested in this process. Or you can get my entire team of experts working for you at a fraction of our payroll. So let me ask you this separate but related question, and I'll make the point in just a second. What's the biggest expense in your life? Oh, what's a one sheet? So a one sheet is like a fancy one-page brochure that talks, you have one about yourself, why you should be on other people's podcasts as a guest, which is a whole separate thing. And there's one about your show, about why they should be on it. It's like the one sheet, it's like in a PR kit, it's like the one sheet flyer promo about the show that gets people to say yes. What's the biggest expense of your life? Is it your house? Is it your kid's college? Ticket lost opportunity, says Ed. Matthew says lack of wisdom. Ooh, good answers. I like those. Good answers. I'm going to tell you there's two things. Number two, the second biggest expense you pay is your taxes over your lifetime. And then I'm going to tell you that the biggest expense in your life is something you actually just alluded to. It's lack of knowledge of how to get from where you are to where you want to be. So in the chat box, give me an example. Somebody brave. Who's my brave one? Tell me, what if I had a magic wand and you could increase your income, what would you want to make in 2026? Do you want to make $500,000, $200,000, $2 million? Just play with me as an example. I'm not going to quote you. What is your goal, revenue goal? Okay. So somebody said 300. I had a couple of people say 300,000. Awesome. So if you're making 100 grand now and you want to make 300, your biggest expense is the $200,000 gap. That's what you paid life last year. You paid life 200 grand because you didn't know how to get from 100 to 300. That makes sense? So do you want to pay life another 200 grand this year? Or would you rather learn how to get from 100 to 300? So if Who wants it all done for you, done right, the first time, every single time? Put I do in the chat. Eric says he wants to get to 42 million. Awesome. Hopefully there's not a $41 million gap between 1 million and 42 million. I do. So if your one client, like we talked about back at the beginning, if your one client is worth 6 to 10,000, 20,000 a year, 300,000, if your one client is worth, let's go on the conservative side, right? Robert, I won't use your 300,000 as an example, but I could. That'd be an easy layup. But let's say it's 6 to 10. Let's say your client's worth 10 grand. If one client is worth 10, and knowing that each relationship can generate, as you've seen, way more than one client each, would you pay, let's see, 10 grand? If one client's worth 10 grand, would you pay 100 grand for 10 referral relationships? They could bring you a whole lot more than 10 clients. I would hope so. The good news is it doesn't cost $100,000. But if all it took to get warm introductions to 10 impossible to reach centers of influence was to stop pitching first and start using a value first media invitation, then it makes them want to talk to you. Would it be worth it? If all it did was get 10 doors open for you, would that be worth it? And if all this did was build you into their process, so they promoted you to their practice, would it be worth it? Every single time the accountants and attorneys who have gone through this process for me, every single time they get a new client, it gets sent our way. I met with a financial services firm this morning. They were on my podcast. They're an RIA. They are now, as of this morning, I did a meeting for all of their advisors, and they are now all sending their clients our way for college financial aid negotiation. This webinar was filled. A lot of you were on this webinar because somebody that you know, like, and trust sent you an email and told you to be here. I did not. They did, because they went through this process for us. This is a product of the process. So we're going to turn those gatekeepers, those center of influences, into guides into their own client bases, so you get introductions without ever having to ask for referrals again. We're going to generate new leads every single week from your center of influence social media connections without you having to sponsor another networking event, association, or go to a BNI meeting early in the morning and drink stale coffee and bad donuts. And we're going to keep the COIs dating you every single month without taking much of your time. Would that be worth it? Give me a yes in the chat. Give me a yes in the chat, Nate. Thank you very much. So again, we are currently sold out, but if this resonates you, here is what the offer is that I will make you. Go to either this QR code if you are on if you can hold up your phone, if you're not on your phone. If you're on a laptop or a desktop, use your phone and take a screen. You put the camera up to the QR code, or just type in bookwithseth.com into your browser. You can open another tab, and you are going to book a strategy session for 30 minutes with me. Now, what's going to happen on that call? We are not going to sell you anything on that call. That's not how we work. What we'll do is we're going to mind map out how this will work in your business. Who would you interview? We're going to help you pick what niche you'd go after. How would the whole thing work? And then if you say, man, that'd be awesome, I want to do that, we can then talk about how we put you at the top of our waiting list and how we get you in as soon as we've got capacity. So again, it's bookwithseth.com or the QR code. So let's answer Robert's scalability question. So Robert, can I role play with you for a minute? Are you okay with that? Give me a yes in the chat. Sure. Okay. So Robert, if you are M&A, are you small market, mid market, big market, average transaction size, deal size? Give me an answer in the chat. And everyone else, pay attention. You're going to learn from Robert. 1 million in EBITDA. Perfect. Okay. So you could use this to go after, for example, who else serves that $1 million EBITDA business? Who else does that business owner or CEO talk to? Give me some guesses. And you can all guess for Robert because you might give him an idea. $1 million EBITDA business owner, who else serves them that could introduce Robert? Give me some guesses in the chat. You'll be right. Agencies, yep. CPA, yep. Payroll company, yep. Attorney, yep. Commercial real estate, commercial mortgage, yep. All of those are good. Software companies that sell them software, yep. Depends on the industry that they're in. They might be in an association. They're insurance agent, Robert, yep. Absolutely. Commercial PNC, yeah. Financial advisors. private bankers, business, yes, all of those are correct. So, and I'm not saying this is what you should do, Robert. This is just, we're brainstorming here. We can discuss it in more detail on our call. But you could use this associate. What about the groups? EO that I'm in, Vistage, right? What about the other, the masterminds that they belong to, right? All of those work. So Robert could use this process to get in. I know Rex deals with business owners as well. You could use this process to get in front of the centers of influence, whether it's a CPA, whether it's an accounting firm, and a legal firm, IP law, down to associations like EO and Vistage. You could use this process to get in the door so that they are then introducing you on a consistent and regular basis to your perfect client. And you've got their endorsement. So how it's scalable, Robert, is you run this process. We talk about just test it with one season, do 10 episodes, 10 relationships, and see how it goes. Or for our folks who are all in, and a lot of people after they do the 10 and they see how well it works, say, I want to keep going. How it gets scalable is we have a higher level process of this where it's every single week. We call it like our Dream 50. In that case, it's an interview every week for 50 weeks in a row. So then instead of just 10 relationships, you've got 50. Every week, another person is going through that flywheel, is going through the pipeline. And after they go through the process, outspit referrals and meetings. So that's how it's scalable. Now, it's not infinitely scalable because you're not going to do 5 episodes a day, right? It's a long-term nurture strategy, but once the flywheel starts spinning after a few months, it's spitting out results every single week and relationships every single week. So you can baby step test it with 10 if you want to see how it goes, but then we have clients who upgrade and say, or who hire us from the beginning to say, I'm all in, let me do 50 over a year, and let's blow up my business to a whole new level. So that's kind of how it's scalable. Does that make sense? Robert, does that make sense? Give me a makes sense in the chat so I know you're with me. I don't think I do even one. I'm typically on the backside of my companies. I just want to make sure I give them what they need to do. What I don't know what that means. Can you expand on that a little bit? What do you mean by I'm on the backside? Easier to speak if you want. Okay, sure. Yes. Grab a time, bookwithseth.com. Happy to discuss it with you. So it depends on where you are in the process. Oh, I can make it so you can talk. Sure, I will make it so you can talk. Absolutely. This will be fun. Robert, allow to talk. Okay, you should be able to unmute.
Can you hear me?
I can here if you want. Yeah, go for it. Or I can make it so you can
Yeah.
turn your camera on if you want.
Sure, that's fine. Whatever
Okay.
you prefer.
I am making you a panelist. You should now be able to turn your camera on. Okay, you should be able to turn your camera on now.
Can I?
All right, we'll do a live hot seat.
Does it work? No, it's not working. 1 second. 1 second.
No problem.
I need to give it permissions. 1 second.
There he is. Okay.
There we go. Okay, so let me move you here then.
Yes, I can see you and hear you.
Okay. So, I'm an engineer by background, introvert, as you said, and I haven't really been public until maybe like last year, and that's intentional. So I like to run my companies from, behind the scenes. I'm not forward facing. I don't speak to any clients. I don't really do much. So this process that we're learning right now, I'm learning it so that I can basically give it to someone else in the company. They can have the interviews,
okay.
and so on. So that's why I'm interested in the scalability, because I wouldn't do it either way. I would give it to them and say, okay, you need to do this, right? And that's basically.
Okay, so that makes perfect sense. So you're not the front-facing person of your company. You have business development folks or SDRs who are. They would be the ones doing the podcast. You'd be the one reaping the rewards of their efforts on the back end. That totally works.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we've done it in M&A before, so we know it works.
Okay.
That company, it's funny. We did it for a year for a mid-market. Again, their target was $1 million in EBITDA minimum. And then they got acquired by a bigger company that had their own marketing department and said, we're going to do things our way, which is why we now have a spot open for M&A. So all of you, if you aren't the public-facing person of your company, like if you've got a sales rep or someone else, they can do this process and use this to bring in business for your and relationships for your company. That's totally fine. We've done that plenty of times.
Okay. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. I will drop you as a panelist.
Sure.
and make you back as an attendee. All right. Other comments or questions? Go to, oh, I got to tell you how to get the association list. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So if you are looking for the list, the directory of associations, just shoot me an email or reply to the email that reminded you to be here and say association directory, and I will reply with the link to our association directory and you can play with it. It's a lot of fun. It's got contact information for every association in the country that we could find. Can you put the QR code back up on the screen? Yes, sure. Bookwithseth.com or the QR code. Okay. I can't find a soon time. Okay. That may be okay. So when you registered for this event on the thank you page, there was a video from me that said, go grab a time on my calendar now because they have a tendency to get sold out, all taken on the actual webinar. If you can't find a time in the relatively near future, like in the next 2 weeks or something, because they all got taken, just shoot me an email and say, hey, I need to find it. I couldn't find a time on your calendar, and I'll find a way. Maybe we can find a way to squeeze you in after hours or something. I'm on the East Coast. But that happens every time. That's why we put that video and the link to my calendar on the thank you page, and we tell you they sell out almost every time. Grab one now. Now you know why, because they sell out. Okay, other questions. Oh, Robert retyped bookwithseth.com. Thank you, Robert. Any other questions? Let's see. Bob, does that make sense? Brad, makes sense. Dwayne, makes sense. Eric, Nada, Nate. I'm not going to call on Steve, Tom. I'm not going to call on everybody. Does that all make sense? You guys get it? Are you getting it? I'm getting it. Still don't know the investment. So it's going to depend on, are you national or are you local? Local's harder. And what niche are you going after? So it really depends on the business. So we can talk about that on the call. We also have another model where if you're willing to do a rev share with us, we can charge you less because we'll make it up on the back end when you actually close deals. We can have a whole set. We are FINRA license and all that stuff. We can have a whole separate conversation about that. Yeah, grab a call. Robert says national. Awesome. Yeah, our last M&A company was national too. How long is the waiting list? Again, it's going to depend on what your business is. It's like 30 to 60 days. I have to double check. 30 to 90 at the latest. Okay. Any other questions? Going once. Going twice. Okay. Well, this took less time than I thought because there were fewer questions. So apparently I did a better job. So thank you all for joining us. I hope you learned a lot. Obviously, we're biased. We hope we get to talk to you about it. Again, there's no sales pitch on that call. I just don't do business that way. And hopefully we get to help you and you get to be one of our success stories in our next training. Ed says, this is so exciting, I can't sleep. That's awesome. Thank you, Ed. All right. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you learned a lot. I hope we get to chat about it. And we will see you or talk to you next time.